Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss Season 3, Part 2 of MTV's original show, Teen Wolf. This came out January 2014. This is 12 episodes long, just like other seasons. Granted, Season 3 is 12 episodes, The Rock Point, and then 12 episodes, Nagitsune, Kitsune, Void Styles plot, right? So this is, without a doubt, my favorite season of all. Technical 9, even though it's 6, but 3, 5, and 6 are each in 2 parts. So that's 6 by themselves, right? And then there's 1, 2, and then 4. So that's 9 total seasons, technically. 100 episodes altogether. This is my favorite season. Favorite part. Part 2, Season 3 is my favorite 12 episodes. It just, so much happens, and it's so hard to discuss all of it without crying. The amount of emotion, throughout this entire season throughout this entire part of this season is incredible. The storyline, the character development, it amps up the whole psychological fact of the show. It amps up the horror aspect of the show. It amps up the mythology aspect. It amps up the stunt work of the show. You have samurais and various other different stunt work needed to be portrayed in this season, and from a technical standpoint, flawless. The first 7 minutes of the first episode of this part of Season 3 is Styles. The first 7 minutes is Styles having this nightmare, but like he doesn't know if it's real or not, and then it's a dream within a dream, and then he comes out of the dream, and then he's talking to Styles, and he goes, I don't know if this is real or not, and then just cut. And he screams at the top of his lungs. His dad comes running in, grabs him, saying, it's okay, it's okay. And I have goosebumps right now as we speak. It's so terrifying. That moment, 7 minutes into that first episode, and I still get chills. I still jump. It completely took me off guard. I knew it was happening. It's just so incredible, the amount of talent that Dylan O'Brien has. Insane amount of talent throughout this entire season, throughout this entire part 2 of Season 3. He is Void Styles. He is a Nogitsune. But why? So Styles is having these insomniatic episodes. He can't sleep. He can't figure out what's real or not. He can't read things. Like, things are happening. Allison is being haunted by, her dead aunt, Jill Argent, after she was, cut by Peter with his claws. Scott is having moments of switching from wolf to human, but he can't control it. So, like, the three of them are facing the consequences of having that darkness on their heart, because they all died in order to save their parents for the sacrifice upon the rock in regards to the Nematon, right? The tree, right? The druid stuff. We talked about it already. We went through that. But, like, we all knew that there'd still be a darkness on them. So the plot points of this was that what happens with these three main characters, because they technically opened a door. They opened a door to the spirit world, and it wasn't closed all the way when they got back. So what is a door when it's not a door? It's a jar. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting having the riddles into play of these plot points. Styles going through the different riddles. Sign language is brought into this for half a second for this, but then there's the fun moments as well. There's the rave, the Halloween rave with Danny and Ethan, in glow light paint, having the time of their lives. But then things are happening. These Oni, these samurai spirits are coming for some reason. They're grabbing people. Fireflies are a part of their essence, and like they're looking into them. And then there's a backwards 5 that's, portrayed on the back of their left ear, representing self. It's a kanji for self, which I need. I need it. I've decided I need it. And it's just showing that you are you. You're not possessed by any spirit. And we all need that. We all need a good kanji check. We all need a good, make sure that we are our own person and no one else or nothing else is inhabiting or trying to inhabit or trying to drain the battery that we all are, that is energy of life. So I want that tattoo. It's going to happen at some point before I die. And as all of the, Beacon Hills gang, Scott's pack is being, checked as this stuff is happening. Scott is trying to make sure that Styles is okay, because he's running off and doing his own stuff, trying to figure out all of these things that are happening again. And he is checked, and it turns out he is not himself. He is inhabited by this dark spirit, this Nogitsune. What is a Nogitsune? So a Nogitsune is a fox spirit. We have Japanese mythology thrown into the mix. We've had basic Greco mythology within the story of the Lycan. We have some South American stuff in regards to the Kanama. We had some Celtic stuff in regards to the Druids and the Durak. Now we have some Japanese mythology thrown into the mix. Kitsune or fox spirits, right? There's 9 tails. Each tail represents different things. There's 13 different types of fox spirits. The Nogitsune is a nega fox spirit in a way. There's this new character called Kira. Kira is a fox spirit. She is a kitsune. She is a fire spirit. She's a fire fox. So learning about all that stuff. There's a serial killer on the loose in the very beginning. There's stuff going on with Scott's and Styles are trying to help Sheriff Stilinski figure out a missing persons case of an 8-year-old girl who was in the woods. That was a whole plot point for a few episodes as well. We have Shelley Henning being introduced as Malia Tate, who's actually Malia Hale, Peter's daughter, which we learned throughout all of this because Lydia's a banshee. Shelley's in three of these episodes. She's in 3 of the 12 episodes, but then she's a main character in season 4 moving forward. She's the new girl in school because she's no longer a were-coyote. She's now learning from Scott how to change from shape to shape. Isaac's story is very important with this. Allison's story is very important with this. The twins, Aiden and Ethan, trying to be a part of Scott's pack, trying to realize it's about the friendship of the pack, not the power of the pack that they're so used to being alphas. Derek and Peter were kidnapped and taken to Mexico by this warlord whose name I can never remember. I can never remember her name, but she has it out for Chris Argent as well. She has bad blood with the Argents for some reason, which we then learn. But they're on the quest of where's this she-wolf, thinking that Peter and Derek are thinking that they're looking for Cora because Derek brought Cora back to South America in between the 2 parts of the season, because Cora, that's where she was after the fire. So that's where he felt that she should go back to South America. So then upon going back, they get kidnapped, thrown to Mexico, tortured, trying to figure out who this she-wolf is. So we have the Nogitsune taking over Styles, causing all of this chaos, absolute chaos, feeding off chaos. We get this Japanese internment stuff, flashback stories about the atrocities that happened during that time period. Good old American history. But we had some spin on it in regards to the Nogitsune coming out within the 1940s of that particular time period. Kira's mom is a 900-year-old kitsune. So she was there. She released this fox spirit into her military boyfriend, Reese, after he was brutally murdered in a revenge plot. So then he's feeding off chaos, and then eventually she captures him in a jar, kind of a thing. Lightning bolt in a jar. Lightning bug in a jar. Firefly in a jar. I'm from Long Island. We say lightning bug and we also say firefly. It's the same word for us. It's interchangeable. So it's now a matter of how do you defeat the Nogitsune? What's real, what's not real? What game are they playing? What game can we play against them? Offense versus defense? What kind of moves? Aggressive versus passive? How are we doing this? What can kill these Oni characters? These shadow spirit samurai characters that are controlled by either a kitsune who has her tails, their tails, or in Void Styles' case, the Nogitsune's case, he then takes said last tail of Kira's mom, breaks it, has the Oni as themselves. But in the process of this, all the gang are trying to fight and do their own things and help make sure Lydia's okay, make sure that the twins aren't being poisoned out because they were just shot by some mysterious character in the woods. All these different things, right? Things are happening. Chaos is happening. Chaos is feeding the Nogitsune. That's what the Nogitsune wants. The Nogitsune is insatiable because that's what they need. Allison being killed is just devastating. Absolutely devastating. Aiden being killed was devastating. It's hard to watch this show. It's hard to watch this part of this season specifically without bawling your eyes out. I get goosebumps at the first 7 minutes of this season, part 2 of season 3, all the time. We just went over that. But Allison dying in Scott's arms, saying it's perfect, cried my eyes out. Aiden dying in his brother's arms, cried my eyes out. It's so hard not to cry while watching this show because of the character development, because of the pain that you feel from these characters, from these incredible actors. When Scott and Stiles had that brotherly moment and hugged each other, before he had the MRI, very upsetting tears. When Melissa, Scott's mom, gives Stiles a sedative so he can actually sleep because he hasn't slept it in quite some time, he, in his twilight state, is saying, "Thanks, Mom." Tears. It's just so important to see this growth of character development, and Jeff Davis in the writing department is very smart with connecting the previous seasons to the present and the present to the future. Very smart how it's interwoven on specific fronts. So we get Miss Morrell is now a counselor at Eichen House, which is this mental ward. Not mental ward. It's an establishment. It's a house. It's not a house. It's a mansion. It's a hospital for psych patients. Malia is there. Stiles is there. Whether that's voluntary or involuntary, stuff happens, right? But there's a dark history of Eichen House. Why didn't the Gitsune bring all those people down there, in the 40s to begin with? Why is Eichen House very important moving forward? Why was Voight Stiles insisted on keeping Lydia there while the fight was going on? Things, right? Eichen House is very important moving forward, but it was important to see the relationship between Stiles and Malia develop while they were both inmates, not really inmates, patients at Eichen House. Meredith is brought into the fact. Meredith is a Banshee, but she's an Eichen House resident, so she's not all there, quote unquote, but like she can hear voices, but she's dubbed as a psychotic because she can hear voices, but she's not actually psychotic because she's a Banshee. Lydia can hear voices all the time. She's not locked up in Eichen House yet. So it's really cool seeing all these different things. We have, like I said, Miss Morrell is doing counseling there. We don't really see her ever again. What happens to Miss Morrell? Leading to those other questions. I know I just complimented the writing on plot points, but when it comes to certain characters then disappearing, it's a little confusing. Miss Morrell, the last time we see her is within this particular part. I am going to pay attention, just in case. Deucalion hires Brayden, who we thought he killed in the locker room by ripping her throat out, in the end of the beginning of season 3, part 1. Brayden was hired by Deucalion to rescue Peter and Derek from Mexico, from these hunter cartel. Why? So it's interesting throwing that into the mix. Deucalion's not in this season, in this second part of this season, but we know, moving forward, we got Deucalion back. So with Danny and Ethan having a very important heart-to-heart at the end, Ethan saying he can't stay here, he can't do this, it's because of his brother. His brother's dead. He has to go. He can't stay. Danny breaks up with Ethan, and Ethan goes, are you breaking up with me, or why are you breaking up with me? And he's like, dude, you're a werewolf. And he's like, you do? And he's like, dude, it's Beacon Hills. But that's it. They share a kiss, and that's it. We never see Danny again. Jeff Davis was interviewed. He said that Danny graduated early because he was really smart. But that doesn't help us with the question, because in season 6, we have Jackson and Ethan dating in London. So, how the hell would they have ever met each other without it being Danny as the introduction, because Danny was Jackson's best friend? Jackson would have met Ethan through Danny. Ethan was dating Danny. So Jackson's now dating his best friend's ex. There's a literal triangle, but the point, you have A, B, and then C. C is Danny. We don't have Danny in the future, so I don't know. That's my only question. What happened to Danny? I mean, yeah, Isaac and Isaac goes to London or Paris or something. They mention it in another season. But him having heart-to-hearts with Chris Argent throughout all this because of Allison's death. Isaac be dating Allison throughout this second part of the season, as Kira is dating Scott throughout this second part of the season. Very cool. Character development. Things change. You don't forget your first love, but things change. You adapt. It's such an important season, and it's the best season out of all 9 of them. absolutely obsessed. I will wear my Danny jersey with pride until the day I die. I have to get that backward 5 kanji right here, marking to know that I am myself and no one else. And that's very important. Very important. This season, this second part of this third season was all about sanity, right? What do you do in the chaos? Oh, Deaton had a perfect phrase. I can't remember it. He explained it as like things are never always going to be bad and things are never always going to be good. Some life always finds itself back to the middle, which is another favorite show of mine. So, and I have that tattoo here. I have my Axel Heck tattoo. I have my Team Wolf tattoos here. I'm myself. I need the kanji for self. I need it. Right? I need it. It's a thing. I need it. Team Wolf season 3 part 2, the greatest season of the entire 100 episodes. I'm very excited for 4, 5 part 1, 5 part 2, 6 part 1, 6 part 2, and then the movie, whenever the hell that comes out, because they're filming it right now. Very excited to see what happens next. I know I complain all the time what happened to Danny, but it's okay. It's okay. If that's my only complaint in the entire show, what happened to Danny, I'll take it. I'll take it, because this show is just amps constantly. It's just amping and amping and amping, and when you watch something and you get chills and your body physically reacts to what you're watching, whether you're crying, whether you're literally laughing, whether you have goosebumps and chills, whether you jump physically, when a show physically does something to you, not just emotionally, when it physically does something to you, that doesn't happen. That's extremely rare. This is a show that is extremely rare. It's extremely important. Make sure you rewatch it. Rewatch this season. Rewatch everything. Rewatch all of Teen Wolf. You will not regret it. I guarantee it. Mucho mahalo.